Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to yet another edition of the Silver Surge Sports Enthusiast and Pop Culture Channel. I am once again, as I always am, your host, Silver Surge, coming back at you with another roundtable sports discussion video about our local Valley team, and this time I'm going to be covering, if you haven't guessed already, the Arizona Coyotes. Yes, I'm super excited to talk about the Coyotes today because they're on a roll right now. They are taking the Valley by storm when nobody else can. The Cardinals have been trash for the better part of the season, except for yesterday they won, thankfully. The Suns started off 1-0, and then since then they're 1-5, and they can't do anything right. Devin Book's injured again, and they're turning over the ball like crazy, and yeah, so let's focus on the positive, which is the Arizona Coyotes. Yeah, I am so excited to talk about them today because they're the only team in town that's doing anything worth a darn right now. So, the Yotes, they started off their season after a lot of speculation. People were referring to them as the dark horse sleeper this year that could be a real playoff team. After the finish they had last season, they had a very strong finish to the 2017-2018 season. We got off to a very rocky start. The Coyotes lost their first two games on the road against Dallas 0-3, and then at home in their opener 1-0. They could not score in two games, and people were starting to get a little concerned, but there was also injuries to keep in mind, too. But finally, they got their first win in Week 3. They took out the Anaheim Ducks on the road in a shootout, 3-2. After that, they lost their next two games against the Buffalo Sabres and Minnesota Wild. And then they got rolling because the players started coming back from injury, and then they started kind of putting all the pieces together, and things were flowing again. So they started off by taking a 4-1 victory over the Chicago Blackhawks, and that is impressive enough because it's really hard to beat Chicago, but they did it in Chicago. So beating them on their home ice is a strong statement, and beating them convincingly is even a stronger statement. So I was really happy to see them get a big win to improve their record at 2-4. After that, they went into Winnipeg and played arguably one of the top teams in the Western Conference. They fought them hard, but they lost 3-5. They played a lot better than that two-goal deficit shows, though, because they were neck and neck with Winnipeg, and they had even taken, I think, a two-goal lead at one point. But unfortunately, they didn't hold on to it. And that two-goal deficit came with a shorthanded goal, or open net goal, excuse me, towards the end of regulation. So the Coyotes played them pretty strong, but they dropped. After that, though, the Coyotes really turned on the Jets. That Chicago game was just the start. I actually made a video a few days ago talking about the abysmal state of the Arizona Cardinals and how upset I was. I was wearing another Coyotes jersey, and I was just kind of briefly mentioning that I was going to a Coyotes game that night in a few hours. That's why I was wearing a Coyotes jersey, despite it being an Arizona Cardinals discussion video. And I was hoping for something positive to take away because, right now, it's really hard to find things to be positive about when you have a team as bad as the Suns and you have a team as bad as the Cardinals, and the Diamondbacks choked their 2018 season away. So I needed something to kind of cheer me up a little bit, and I was really hoping for something good to happen. And the Coyotes heard me because I had a phenomenal game. And as you can see, I'm wearing a brand new Coyotes jersey, and I had to celebrate. So we'll get into that in just a minute. But wow, the game could not go any better than I had expected. Every time I go to Coyotes games, let me get that little bit out first. They always lose. I've been to 14 games. They've won 5 times. So my luck is horrible when I attend Coyotes games. They never seem to be able to pull it together when I attend games. And it's really depressing because I love hockey, and it's really fun, and I really enjoy the sport. But, it's really hard to want to go to games when every time I go, they lose. So, I just... my track record isn't good, so I was hesitant, and the only reason I went to this game is because a good friend of my from my childhood, Missile Martinez, he and I are really close. He gave me a pair of extra tickets to the Coyotes game, and I don't shoot down free tickets to games unless I really can't go. So I was really excited to go to that. I took my dad, and it was the Coyotes versus the Vancouver Canucks, and Vancouver's a really good team this year too. I think they were at the time one of the top 3 seeds in the Western Conference. They had a 4-2 record, and Canadian teams are always usually pretty, hard to beat. So I wasn't expecting much out of this game. I was like, well, we always lose, so why should this game be any different? So I went to the game expecting the worst, and it was the exact opposite. In fact, the the first First period was very impressive. The Coyotes were very clean and crisp on their puck play and passing it to one another. They had a lot of scoring opportunities early. They were pressuring the Canucks defense, and they were being very aggressive. And I was overall really impressed with what I saw in that first period. Nobody scored, so it was a 0-0 tie at the end of one. But finally, things got going in the second when Alex Goligoski scored early, 43 seconds in, and we took a big 1-0 advantage. And I got so excited, and I jumped up and started screaming, and I was clapping my hands and cheering with that little Coyotes jingle, the "Howlin' for You" song that they play every time the Coyotes score. So that was fun. But it was short-lived. I did not get to enjoy it for very long because 2 minutes later, Darren Archibald of the Canucks scored right back and tied it up at 1. And it was an open shot to the left post, right behind Darcy Kemper, who was goalie that night. Who, by the way, is playing phenomenal right now. Him and Antti Raanta are starting goalies. Let me just give a quick shout out to both goalies. Kemper and Raanta have been fantastic these last few games, and I'm really excited for what we got in net going on because these guys have really stepped up their play. They're doing phenomenal things for the Coyotes. But anyway, so they tied it at 1, and I was thinking, well, yep, that's typical Coyotes hockey when I come to watch. I get excited for a brief second, I get a flash of enjoyment, and then it's gone before I can even process the rest of it. So after that, the Coyotes and Canucks were at a stalemate, and nothing happened in the second after that. So we went into the third, tied up at 1. About 3:55, 4 minutes into the game, the third period, Clayton Keller, my boy, he scores a big goal on a redirect that was stolen in deep in the Vancouver zone, and he fired it past the goalie and made it 2-1. So at that point, I got really excited because Clayton Keller scored that goal on my side of the ice this time, so I saw it up front and personal, and our seats were pretty good actually. We were about 15 rows back from the goalie's net, so it was really good seats, and I had a really good time. But 2-1 lead, and I was thinking, okay, all right, Yotes, I hear you. It's 2-1, third period. And I said, all right, well, I've been wanting to get a new Coyotes jersey for quite a while, and I've been very tempted for the last few games I've gone to last season, but I wouldn't do it because I'm like, it's so expensive. If you want an actual nameplate jersey of a Coyotes player, it's $280. I'm like, I'm not spending that on a jersey. And then if you want a custom nameplate, like where you can put anything, like your own last name or numbers or whatever the heck you want to put, it's $300-something bucks. And I'm like, that's even worse. So I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm not spending these prices. And then I finally found another jersey, which is the exact same jersey as the nameplate jerseys, but it's there's no nameplate. It's just blank. And you can buy those jerseys for $130, which I thought was a lot more reasonable in comparison. With tax, it was roughly around $150, but still, it's super inexpensive compared to a player jersey. So I was mulling it that night, and I was like, do I want to? I really want a new Coyotes jersey because the one I have is, number one, too big for me. Number two, it's in the old style. It was a Reebok jersey, and they have black and white, part of their new color scheme, and I really wanted to incorporate that in my jersey. And I thought about it, and I was like, well, it's a lot of money. I don't know if I want to spend it, but it was 2-1, so I was like, Coyotes are winning. Third period, I said, all right, so I'll make you a deal. You win tonight, I'll drop the money. I'll take the plunge and I'll treat myself and get a brand new Coyotes jersey. So the team must have heard me because then they rattled off 2 more goals and we won 4-1. So I was like, what can I do? I made a promise. Brad Richardson scored a shorthanded goal on a Vancouver power play, and we went up 3-1. And I was like, so ecstatic because all those goals came on my side of the ice in the third period. So I saw Keller score on the redirect in the Vancouver zone. Brad Richardson, the shorthanded goal, scored. And then Lawson Krause, with about 2 minutes left to play, Vancouver had pulled their goal, and he scored an uncontested open net goal on that, and that was the icing on the cake, which made it 4-1. So I was on cloud 9. I got to watch all 3 of those goals in the third on my side of the ice. The Yotes got a big 4-1 victory. And I was just so happy. I was like, I will happily drop the $150. That $150 was well worth it because this jersey is so comfortable. It is nice and loose. It doesn't feel heavy at all. It's relaxing. It's current. It's up to date, and now I can represent my boys, in their current updated outfit. They have the paws on either side of the jersey, which I love. They got the big old coyote head on the front, and then you got the black trim sleeves, and then you got the red and white wrist portion of it. So it's really, really cool. And then you got the NHL logo right here. But I love it, and I don't regret it. And I just had a phenomenal night. The Coyotes put an exclamation point on their first home victory of the season with that 4-1 win. So I had a great time. But it didn't stop there. The Coyotes are on a current home streak, I should say. Their next game came 2 days later on the 27th. They played the Tampa Bay Lightning from the Eastern Conference. And Tampa Bay was one game away from making the Stanley Cup Finals last year, so that's just a example of how good Tampa Bay Lightning are. They came in, as one of the better teams in the league, and I wasn't expecting a whole lot of offense this time around against Tampa Bay, because I think they're very, very hard to beat. And the last time I went to a Coyotes versus Lightning game, we lost 2-0. And the Lightning have always been hard for the Yotes to beat. But wow, to say the Coyotes played aggressively is an understatement, because not only did they win that game, they throttled Tampa Bay. They scored 7 goals, 7 on Tampa Bay, and the final score was 7-1. So with that, the Yotes have just been killing it right now. They're on a 3-game win streak. They beat the Columbus Blue Jackets on the road before they came home and played Vancouver. Then they throttled Vancouver, and I thought that was already a blowout. And then they destroyed Tampa Bay. So now they're 5-5, and that even though they're 500 record right now, shows that they're only playing 500 ice, or hockey, I should say. Not 500 ice. That's stupid. They're playing so good right now. Their defense is on another level. They're playing at an elite level right now. They're a wall right now, and they're really fun to watch. And I'm so excited. And I'll be going to 2 more games this season, since this is my goodbye tour for Arizona sports before I move out of state. But I got 2 more games planned. One, I'm going to be going with a buddy of mine. His name is Joe, and I went with him to a D-backs game last season, or this season. And he really wants to go to a hockey game, so I figure why not. So I'm going to take him to one of those, and then I think in the end of January or early February, the Coyotes are having the number retirement ceremony for Shane Doan, and they're doing a bobblehead giveaway. So I have to be there. It's a bobblehead game. So yeah, I'll be going to the. Did I say Vancouver? They're going to go play Winnipeg in that number retirement game next year, and then I'm going to be going to another game that I'm going to pick out here soon with my friend Joe. So I got 2 more games to go to. Hopefully all 3 of them were wins. That would be fun. But I'm really excited for the direction of this team, because Rick Tocchet's got the Coyotes firing on all cylinders after that slow start to the year. 5-5. They got Ottawa coming up tomorrow at home. Then they got Carolina and Philly. If they can sweep this home series, they'll be 8-5, and they'll be in really good shape the rest of the way. And I'm ecstatic, because everyone else in this town is playing like crap, so someone's got to step up and give this state something to be excited about. And right now, it's the Coyotes, and I'm really excited. I'm representing in my new jersey, like I said, and I can't wait for it. I'm so stoked to get to that next game to go with my friend Joe. So anyway, that concludes this video for today. I just wanted to share a few thoughts on the Coyotes and how I'm really excited, and I hope you guys are too. Thanks for watching today. If you enjoyed my content, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button at the very bottom of the screen. Goes a long way in helping me improve my channel. Getting more subscribers helps me stay active and want to continue producing higher quality content even without a high quality camera or mic. I still have fun doing this. I still have fun entertaining, and I want to keep it going for as long as I can. So it'd really help me out if you could hit that subscribe button at the bottom, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Take care. I will see you next time. God bless.